Escape, ready or not, I'm on my way. You can't stop what I got, ready or not. I come, so you better get ready, get ready. Something big is about to go down. Ready or not, ready or not, ready or not.
No way to beat me, no way to win. Yo.
No way to beat me, no way to win.
No way to beat me, no way to win.
No way to beat me, no way to win.
No way to beat me, no way to win. No way to beat me, no way to win. We are the rest, the ones left over. We are the best, but the best is sold us. We are the rest, and the best get left behind. We are the rest. to you. Who's got a match? I've got the petrol to set it to. I know I shouldn't have trusted you. It's making me tense what you're telling me. A series of facts that don't compute the classic way. I guess I'm wrong again anyway. I'm a fire and a burn, burn, burn tonight. I'm a fire and a burn, burn, burn tonight. I'm a fire and a burn, burn, burn tonight. I'm a fire and a burn, burn, burn tonight. I'm a fire and a burn tonight. I'm a fire. I'm a fire and a burn tonight. I'm a fire.
All right. In the middle of this wonderful video here, we'll pick up right here where the commentary starts. We've got Nick Diamond right here in this invasion moment saying, "Where's Harold Atano?" And Mr. Nobody himself is up on the ramp. Is my mic really loud? It's maxing out when I talk. Anyway, we flash back. Harold Atano is just watching as the pool boys get their asses handed to them because he's knowing his place. Must just be something with that input. And then whenever Doom and Atano stood face to face last week, Atano said, "I was told to know my place, and I'm just nobody, a ghost." We have Narcissa holding Foley hostage. Doom and Atano fighting. "Do you quit?" they ask, and Atano can barely talk through the pain, but he's able to utter one single word. Yes, he does quit. And with the match over, Doom immediately looks towards the entrance ramp. And here's the Yellow Python, and Blaze, both men attack Narcissa, dragging her away from Foley, who falls flat on his face. The double feature champion laughs maniacally as the ACA beat the holy hell out of her competition for Invasion. Narcissa! We see her face. "I'm a fire." Jackson Cade, his face. "I'm a fire." Felix Foley, his face. "I'm a fire." Harold Atano, his face. "I'm a fire." Doom, you guessed it, his face. "I'm a fire." Blaze, "I'm a fire." CJ Thorpe, "I'm a fire." Gemini, his face. I didn't know Gemini was a him. "I'm a fire." Yellow Python, his face. "I'm a fire." Tombstone, his face. Fireworks explode from the stage as Invasion X 10 kicks off from Olympus. The camera circles the adoring fans, watching on as they celebrate the beginning of what should be a phenomenal show. We settle back at ringside to see Johnny Gomez and Nick Diamond looking spiffy ahead of their calling of the action. And I bet this right here is the commentary I was supposed to start at, not the commentary up above. So I think that's my bad. The music should have been playing through this section. But I saw commentary and was told to start at commentary. Should have used some deductive reasoning there. Johnny Gomez starts us off. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Invasion. We've got a jam-packed show for you here tonight, and it'll begin shortly with Spiros the Great versus Lionel Troy. Before we get there, though, Nick Diamond chimes in. We've got to tell you about our two main matches of the evening. Tombstone defends the OSW World Championship against Gemini, and we have the Invasion match. Tonight's got a big fight feel, Gomez says, doesn't it, Nikki? With the retort of, "It sure does." Gomez lets us know the Invasion match is a simple concept, folks. Two competitors will start, and every 2 minutes another will enter until one of two things occurs. Either someone wins the match, or all 6 participants are in the ring. Not all of them need to be there either. Johnny reminds us here, this match can be won with only 3 participants having entered. That happened in 2018, I think. Nick Diamond lets us know who our competitors are. Harold Atano, Doom, Narcissa, Blaze, Felix Foley, and the Yellow Python. They've got the night of their lives ahead of them here tonight. It can change everything. But let's not forget, hang on a second. I'm being told that we're being sent immediately to the backstage. There's a commotion. What is our commotion? Let's find out. Ooh. Grimskull and Druid, Apostles. Grimskull and Druid walk through the backstage area, focused and looking for El Mariachi Muerte. Tonight, Muerte goes one-on-one with Jasper Redgrave, and Gemini's in action against Tombstone. You've got Death? Druid asks as both men stop, about to go in different directions. Grimskull nods. And you, Pestilence? The Preacher asks in response. Druid nods. Apocalypsis are going to divide and conquer tonight. With Druid and Grimskull not in action, they're aligning with a member each. Hang on, what's that? 4 masked assailants out of nowhere attack them both from behind with clubbing forearms, knocking them both to the floor. One drops down, pummeling away at Grimskull, while another forcibly removes Druid's gun from his holster. Good move. What the underworld is going on? No! Bang, bang, bang! 3 shots fire brutally into the chest of Druid, slamming him back into the concrete powerfully. As war bleeds out all over the floor, everyone turns their attention to Grimskull. Druid's immortal, but Grimskull isn't. This isn't the way we want to kick off Invasion. Sorry, Dawson. The holder of the gun points it at Grimskull's head. The Preacher's unafraid. He pushes his face up against the weapon. Go on, he growls at them. The holder looks at his fellow attackers and laughs. Make me a martyr. Whack! Pistol to the side of the head. As the Preacher falls unconscious, the masked men arrange themselves, 2 dragging away Druid by his boots, and the other 2 lifting Grimskull between them. Where are they taking them? They're kidnapping half of Apocalypsis. Something feels off here tonight, Johnny. Something feels off. Well, that's a hell of a start. Half of Apocalypsis has been kidnapped. Druid and Grimskull are off the table. They are unable to help their friends and allies and fellow horsemen later tonight. I can't really show you because of the way it's set up, but the sidebar of this show is really cool image of Tombstone, which you'll have to see whenever you read this yourself. Introducing for Ghosts of the Past. That's right. Tonight we're going to see Ghosts of the Past matches announced. So who is it going to be? Who do we have? We have got Black Veil versus Rune in a King's Throne match. That should be a fun one. Rune, our resident conspiracy theorist, and Black Veil, women's rights advocate with a twist. Literally a never-before-seen match. All right, yeah, we're going to have to see who the people are in the masks. And I'm going to pause right here to kind of go backwards, because I wanted to get right into those opening segments. We had a level 2 hype train, which is pretty badass. Thank you, guys. We have Alex Smiley Plays and Jensen Cussin for their resubs. 36 months for Zach. 47 for Alex. And he said 47 in a row. Looks like a Clerks reference. Very nice. We got 100 bits from Alex. Hell yeah. The Lonely Lighthouse, a subscription for Tier 1. Thank you. It's a new sub. Love to see it. Yes. I knew it was a Clerks reference. Let's see. Hype Train was achieved then. Brino with the Prime sub. Thank you. Glad you're feeling a little bit better. No more running around stores, though, young man. And then, we just got a follow from Suburban Beard H. All right, very nice. Very nice. Thankful to all you guys for that. Let's get back to the show. What you guys are here for. Commentary explained very well what's happening here tonight, so let's just jump into what I assume will be our first match. It is. It's a grudge match. Spiros the Great versus Lionel Troy. Love the layout for the image here. Just had to stop and appreciate that a little bit. Poor Demi Sky has her work cut out as a referee tonight. Can she keep Lionel and Spiros from playing dirty? Who knows? Lionel Troy drops to his knees in prayer. Spiros raises an eyebrow and approaches him with ill intent. Hallelujah leg sweep! Not so fast! Spiros jumps over the leg. He slaps Troy in the face. Lionel is shocked. Spiros deadlifts him into a massive suplex. He forces Troy back to his feet, runs him shoulder first into the turnbuckle. The Lion of Zion is dazed, and Spiros hits the ropes as he stumbles from the corner. Graced by greatness. By God, Spiros just took Lionel's head off with that knee. The Great One is looking cocky as ever as he peels Troy back to his feet. He whips him across the ring and goes to follow up, but no! A Child of Zion grabs his leg from ringside. STG turns to kick him off. Clothesline from hell, or close Lionel from hell. Lionel just turned Spiros inside out, and Lionel just got saved by one of his followers. Demi tries to shoo the congregate from ringside, but Lionel talks her down. The Reverend argues the rules! The rules, damn it, before running and catching a rising Spiros with a low drop kick to the face. The Greatest is spent sprawling, and Lionel pushes the offense with another kick to the gut. He tries to pick him up, but Spiros headbutts him. Spine on the pine! Massive spine buster. Spiros doesn't cover. He rolls outside the ring and grabs Lionel's follower. He flings the congregate right into the steel steps. STG rolls right back into the ring, but Lionel is back up, and he's pissed. Psionic elbow! No! Clothesline by Spiro. STG is in control and Lionel is reeling. He tries to get to his feet, but drops to the ground. He's calling over to the referee and he begs her to stop the match. Demi looks at the bell, but Spiros doesn't buy it. He pushes her out of the way. Low blow to Spiros. It's a damn miracle. More like a plague, Nikki. Lionel climbs to his feet, praising Zion for his miraculous recovery as he backhands Spiros across the face. He's calling for the end as he grabs hold of the Great One. Divine intervention! Massive DDT plants Spiros, and Lionel makes the cover. 1, 2, 3! Reverend Troy took advantage of Demi's green nature and used it to sneak out a win tonight. Love the use of the referee. Written by Dawson. Great work. Your winner, Lionel Troy. We have a segment to follow with Spiros the Great himself called Sports Entertainment. With that match over and Lionel Troy victorious, Spiros the Great angrily gets back to his feet, demanding a microphone from the ring announcers. He snatches it away and stands before Demi Sky, outraged. What in the name of all that is great was that? He shouts at her. She looks at him confused, quizzically even. 1, 2, 3? It's that simple. You slap your pathetic little monkey hands on the canvas 3 times, and when the Great One kicks out at 2, you stop. She mutters back that the fall was fair, and he didn't kick out in time. Spiros didn't kick out in time? I ought to slap the makeup off those rosy-ass cheeks of yours, he says, raising a hand. How dare you stand before the Greek god and lie? Get on your knees. Bow before greatness. This is completely uncalled for. He's embarrassing that poor young referee. How was her count, Johnny? Was it legitimate? Of course it was. Don't question her integrity. Demi actually does it. She reluctantly gets down on her knees with the fan booing. Oh, oh, oh! The slow rumble of Carl Douglas blares through the speaker before everybody was kung fu fighting. Blasts alongside it. Master Ken walks out on the stage, standing with his hands behind his back. Hang on a second. You won't believe it. That's Master Ken. The Karate Olympian debuts. He bows to the audience and then makes a fast-paced walk to the ring, carefully pacing the ring steps before he wipes his feet on the apron and steps through the ropes. Spiros looks like Ken just took a whiz in his cornflakes. Master Ken pulls a microphone from inside his gi. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you as Master Ken, your beloved karate instructor, and the man who is about to deliver a lesson in humility to Spiros the Great. The fans roar with cheers. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Spiros interrupts, thrusting his hand in the face of Ken. Your monkey ass is new around here, so perhaps you haven't got the memo. When the Great One speaks, you sit down, shut up, and learn from the greatest. Ken looks at the crowd and shrugs his shoulder. Young lady, please get off your knees. He motions to Demi, ignoring Spiros, who's enraged. He helps her towards the ropes and sees her out of harm's way. Spiros from behind! Right hands! Right hands to Ken! Spiros spins him around and starts nailing him with right hands, pushing him towards the ropes before sending him across the ring. Karate pump kick! The crane! Down goes Spiros! The Great One immediately rolls outside the ring. He's holding his chest, leaving Master Ken to soak up the cheers from the crowd inside the ring. Ken looks over to Spiros and bows as Kung Fu Fighting blasts into the arena one more time, accompanied by oohs from the crowd. Master Ken has finally arrived, and he put a boot in the mouth of the so-called Great One. This is just the beginning, Johnny. You know that. Spiros won't let this go. Either way, welcome to OSW Master Ken. Next week, live on Next Level, he'll debut against Colt Ramsey. Can he do what Spiros couldn't? Tune in and find out. Hell of a debut for Master Ken. Beautiful segment. I love that. That is awesome. And it just makes me even more thinking of how good an idea the WWF Attitude Fed would be. All right. Looks like we've got our next announcement. Our next announcement for Ghosts of the Past. Who's it going to be? I like to let it linger here so you can see the very top of their head, because I try to figure out who it is. I can't figure out who these people are yet, so we're going to find out. It is Heath Solman versus Death Note. In a last man standing match. That's a beautiful matchup. A beautiful, beautiful matchup. That is great. Brilliant matchmaking. All right, that should be interesting. Great to see Heath Solman return. Can it be a last man alive match? All right, up next. Is this another match? Is this the Next Level Championship at the Cabin? It looks like it sure is. Luther Grimm defends the Next Level Championship versus Knox. Dawson with the bold prediction. He's put all his money. He's bet the house on Knox. Either way, we're going to have to see what happens. This was written by Alex. We cut inside the cabin where Knox has been seemingly teasing Luther Grimm since his arrival at his own abode. Folks, we have a massive bout up next. Luther Grimm will defend the Next Level Championship inside his cabin against the Uprising's chief of chemicals, Knox. Grimm does not take kindly to the Arcadian chemist. He lunges at Knox, who simply sidesteps the hunter, letting him lash out at nothing but air. Knox lays in some punches before blasting him with a bit of gas to the face, aggregating the earlier effects it's had on the hunter. Luther howls in anguish, taking several wide swings that completely miss their mark. He soon recognizes a figure that he lunges at, unaware that he's going after referee Cole Holt. Holt narrowly avoids a big right hand by Grimm, pointing in the direction of his actual opponent. Knox teases the big man some more, goading him in for another attack, only to drop him with a chop block from behind. Grimm is just struggling to get out of the gates here, Johnny. A sure sign of the damage the chemist has been doing to him. Knox lays in a few mounted punches for good measure, but Luther manages to fight his way out before rising to his feet. But he's looking a bit wobbly. This gives Knox an opportunity to go right back on the attack. He nails some lefts, some rights to wear the hunter down, only for Grimm to knock him back with a headbutt. Grimm is fighting back now. His tenacity pushes him towards the chemist as he connects with a boot to the midsection. Knox folds over from the impact, which gives Luther a chance to follow up with some clubbing forearms. But just as quickly, the hunter stops and begins staring towards the wall of the cabin. Knox backs away, a light chuckle faintly heard from under the mask as Luther raises his fists. Grimm looks like he's seen a ghost, one that he's about to square up with. Knox decides to add to the confusion setting in Luther's mind with another blast of gas to the face. We see the hunter's pupils shrink. He looks focused, determined, and angry. He goes for a right hook, and it lands flush against the wall. That doesn't seem to deter Grimm, however. As he lands a left jab to the wall, he repeats the combo over and over, much to what appears to be amusement from Nox. Till he's had enough, that is, and he grabs one of Grimm's claw traps off a nearby shelf. Oh no! He's got real bad intentions with that trap. Sure enough, Nox charges at the hunter with the trap, blindsiding him with a shot to the skull. That knocks the big man down hard, but it also seems to temporarily get him out of whatever haze he finds himself in. He looks at his now bloodied knuckles, noticing the marks he left behind on the wall before turning his attention to the chemist. Standing over him and lunging with a double-leg takedown. That's more like it, Luther. Grimm rises to his feet once again, this time bringing Nox right up beside him for some more punches. He hoists the chemist up onto his shoulders. He's got him in the torture rack. The harvest. Luther's got Nox trapped now, but no! Nox breaks free courtesy of another blast of gas in Grimm's face. Nox lands on his feet as the hunter rubs his eyes. He's trying to clear his vision, but his face quickly descends into panic. Luther appears to be begging someone off, though it's unclear who. But that doesn't matter to Nox. He pulls the hunter in. Short arm clothesline. Get over here! But Grimm's already back on his feet, driven by a mix of fear and rage. But it's the former that forces him to spin around, as if he's trying to fend off a foe that isn't there. This gives the chemist a much-needed opening, catching the distracted Luther. Snapdragon suplex! The paralytic plex! Grimm's getting beaten down hard here by Nox. Despite Holt's best attempts, the ref can't get the big man to stay focused as he rises back to his vertical base, which leaves him open for another chop block by the chemist. And with Grimm down on his knees, this gives Nox a chance to lock in a Steiner recliner, his hands over Luther's nose and his mouth as he pulls up. It's the oxygen deprivation chamber. But Grimm is still fighting as hard as he can, building back up to a vertical base. He forces Nox to break the hold just as quickly, but the chemist rolls him up. 1, 2, 3! After a massive battle here tonight, Grimm nearly fought off the onslaught of Nox, but it wasn't enough, as we have a new next-level champion standing over a defiant hunter who still has a look of fear in his face. Your winner and new next-level champion, Nox. Congratulations. Hell of a story with this one. I enjoyed the overall story for the month, even with this, with the whole gas confusion thing. Really makes Nox look like a well-deserved chief of chemicals. What's next? We got a segment with these two, entitled Concoction. Luther Grimm is battered, both in body and mind. His eyes screaming a mixture of fear and defiance as Nox stands over the spot where he has collapsed on the floor of the cabin. In Luther Grimm's mind, Nox's eyes shine red, his very skin crawling, and he seems 20 times larger than possible. Towering over him, he seems to erupt from the cabin itself, allowing all manner of nightmares to infiltrate his mind. Make them stop! But when Grimm looks back at Nox, it's not Nox at all he sees, it's Thomas, Jinx's brother. In his hallucination, he appears before him, his eyes flashing red. You don't deserve to stop. You hunted me down like a dog because you were told to. Gas sprays in the face of Luther Grimm, seeming to come out of Thomas's mouth itself. Instantly, the gas begins to burn at Grimm's skin, and he lets out a blood-curdling scream. Thomas's voice mixes with Nox's own. You deserve to be hunted like the dog you are. The gas burns. The pain consumes Luther's mind. Nox stands holding a metallic canister from which the gas had sprayed in Grimm's face. He can see it doing its work, bubbling and boiling on Grimm's skin as it eats his way through his flesh. Grimm tries to scramble away, but he only manages to trip over a discarded chair in the process, and he falls to his back. Nox kneels next to his victim. You've been the perfect subject to test these latest concoctions out on. I control your mind, the fear heightened to levels which your psyche cannot handle. But this latest concoction, I'm going to call it the Hunter, because that's exactly what it's doing to you right now. He pokes at Grimm's face with a gloved hand. It attacks your already addled mind, eating away at it through your skin. There's nothing anybody can do for you now, but watch as you get what you deserve. Grimm's eyes flash with terror. Nox produces a gun and hands it to him. You're going to die, Luther Grimm. You can let the concoction do its job slowly, or take the coward's way out and end it more quickly. That's the final choice you will make in your life. Knox stands backing away to observe his victim, watching as the concoction slowly melts Grimm. His wheezy laugh fills the air as he watches Grimm struggle, holding the gun to his temple. This is sickening! Knox is a sick bastard. This is hard to watch. That gas is powerful, and there's nothing that anybody can do for Grimm now. End it! But Luther Grimm doesn't pull the trigger. His fingers slip off the trigger, and with one last guttural scream of pure agony, he falls silent. His face melted. Dead. Knox stands, walking over to where his victim lies still. He picks up the gun and points it at what's left of his face, as if to double-check the job has been done. Bang! And we cut away. Damn it, I knew I shouldn't have called that nobody would die. Man, I agree, Dawson. You can see why Knox was on death row. I guess that's something that I haven't given too much thought to, is that all these motherfuckers that were on death row are obviously going to be maybe a little more severe than what we've seen in the past. Okay. Druid's 2. Yeah, definite Scarecrow vibes there. I think that Scarecrow is an amazing character. Yeah, the darker versions of Scarecrow where you really get into what his victims see. Alright, looks like another match announced for Ghosts of the Past. Let's see if I can get the tips of their head. Well, it looks like it's got multiple people in it, but I can't tell from the head, so let's go on down. Who's it going to be? Oh, it's a family rules match. Fatal 4-way. Mike Lane, Lux Bellator, Jensen Cussin, and Lee Crowley. All right. That should be fun. Hell of a match. So that's an Inferno match, but with the goo. Okay, I remember having those. All right. Up next, we've got Destructo Boy, Colt Ramsey, and Lionel Troy in a segment entitled Testify. Troy is truth! Ringside is filled with the children of Zion who look on at the center of the ring, where Colt Ramsey stands with a mic. He's speaking fervently to his fellow children. Meanwhile, Lionel stands behind him, practically beaming as he holds onto the sacred texts, and he watches Colt speak. Not these two again. Now they've taken their ranting to the ring. Have you put your credits in the offering plate, Johnny? Last week we got our reparations upon the interloper we called Destructo Boy. Colt paces back and forth, riling up the congregation. We kicked him, bit him, and showed him why you don't invade on our personal paradise. I would even say Destructo Boy is scared of us, terrified of the strength of Zion. Testify! Lionel chimes in excitedly, patting Colt on his back. I hope everyone got their credits worth. For just seven credits a month, you can never feel feared, never feel alone. Isn't that right, Colt? You've learned quickly just what giving yourself in design can do, haven't you? Ramsey chuckles, nodding his head as he takes the microphone back, bringing it to his lips. Troy, rip it! Justice will be done by flat black blares through the arena. Blaze and Destructo Boy are rushing the ring, and Lionel Troy is rushing for the exit through the crowd. The desolate duo, I love that, collide with the congregation. Members of the Children of Zion try to fight back, but the Pool Boys absolutely clear house at ringside, with Kingdom Blade swings and flaming headbutts flying at anyone who tries to get near them. The congregation flees, leaving Colt Ramsey to his own devices. Destructo Boy climbs into the ring, nodding to his father, who chases the remainder of the clergy through the crowd. Ramsey gets into fighting stance as he stares at Destructo Boy. Blackheart isn't here to talk, he's here to fight. A referee rushes to the ring and calls for the bell. This match is about to be underway. I got caught. I saw the fuck your church in the corner of my eye. It threw me off. So we got a match. Destructo Boy, Colt Ramsey. Here we go. Ringside's barely cleared out, but the bell has already been rung. Referee Cole Holt is here, and now Colt's all alone to deal with Destructo Boy one-on-one. We got Colt and we got Cole Holt. Boy, I'm going to mess that up. Destructo Boy flies forward. He nails Colt with a terrifying leaping drop kick that fires him into his corner. Colt drops to the ground and James grabs the ropes before stomping an absolute mudhole in the journo. Blackheart begs him to get back to his feet, springing boarding off the ropes. See no evil! Shining Wizard to the temple. Colt might be knocked out. Ramsey stumbles out of the turnbuckle, right into Destructo Boy's grasp. Blackened Soul, the spinning Uranagi. Not so fast! Colt just poked Destructo Boy in the eyes. Referee Holt gets between the two men and he admonishes him for the dirty tactic. Colt puts his hands up in surrender before pushing Cole out of the way. Ramsey kicks James in the knee, forcing him down before grabbing him, dropping him with a devastating DDT. Colt is quick to his feet. He peels Destructo Boy back up before whipping him to the ropes and taking him out with a running chop block. Destructo Boy tries to get to his feet, but Colt catches him with a kick to the chest. Testify! 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 Colt is just wailing on Destructo Boy with these kicks. He's making him testify, Johnny. Kick after kick after kick. Excuse me. Lionel Troy's favorite boy finishes off the barrage with a sickening kick to the jaw that drops Destructo Boy right back to the mat. Colt grabs him from behind, lifts him up into a dragon sleeper. He smirks. And the B-roll. Drop rolling cutter. Destructo Boy rolled through behind Colt. True Justice, the backdrop driver. James kips up angrily to his feet, and he lays into Colt with boot after boot. He punctuates his barrage with a leaping double foot stomp to the chest that leaves Colt gasping for breath. The anti-hero drops down. He's got Colt by the legs. No! Innocence! He locks in the Hoss of Pain, but Colt grabs the ropes. That's a rope break. The referee tells him to drop the hold, but Destructo Boy refuses. He applies as much pressure as he can, and Cole starts to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Is that a DQ? No, he dropped the hold. He's arguing with the referee. I have until 5. Cole reprimands Destructo Boy, but he doesn't call for the bell. He's letting him off with a warning. It's because he's a kid, man. Come on, Cole. The crowd isn't sure whether to cheer or boo the decision, but as the argument continues, Cole is slowly getting back to his feet. He rolls Destructo Boy up from behind. The ref drops in for the count. 1, 2, 3, no! Destructo Boy kicks out at the very last moment, rolls onto the apron. Ramsey rolls to his feet as Destructo Boy springboards into the ring. Flying Bulldog, no! Colt catches him, and that's a wrap! The swing and reverse DDT! Destructo Boy has to be out! Colt's not done, though. He peels him up. B-roll! The rolling cutter connects. The Journo finally has control in the match. He stalks Destructo Boy as he slowly begins to rise to his feet. The kid's got no idea where he is. Ramsey leaps, fit to print, full Nelson facebuster. Destructo Boy is out. Colt Ramsey rolls him over for the pin. That's got to be it. 1, 2, 3. It is. Colt Ramsey has just secured his reparations for the Children of Zion as he gets his win over Destructo Boy here tonight. Your winner, the Journo, Colt Ramsey. Congratulations to Colt Ramsey for the win. Really fun match. Really fun match. I've had some fun matches here. All right. What's next? Ooh, we've got a segment with Jasper Redgrave, Narcissa Balenciaga. It's entitled A Curiosity. This was recorded earlier. Backstage, Jasper Redgrave stands before Narcissa Balenciaga. Seeing this pair together is never good. I've come across something interesting. Jasper begins. A curiosity. It's about Apocalypsis and their mission. There's a door in the remains of the red light district. It doesn't respond to just anyone, it seems. And El Mariachi Muerte, along with Grimskull, were there guarding it, discussing its significance. Narcissa's interest is immediately piqued. A door, you say? She muses, her tone betraying her curiosity. And it did not respond to you? Jasper smirks. No, it didn't. And that's not what caught my attention. It's their fixation on it, their mission to strike at us to show their strength. They believe we're a threat to whatever that door represents to them. Narcissa leans forward, her gaze sharpening. This is a development we cannot ignore. If the door and whatever it conceals or reveals is of significant importance to Apocalyptus, apocalypsis, then it could be advantageous for us. The last thing I'd want if I were John the Revelator is the uprising poking around no man's land. She stands, thoughtfully pacing, the wheels in her mind visibly turning. We need to keep an eye on this door and the horsemen. Understanding their mission could give us leverage, or at the very least, ensure we're not caught off guard by whatever they're planning. Jasper nods. I agree. The mariachi intends to take me down at Invasion. He'll be extra motivated because of my finding the door. Narcissa stops, her gaze settling on Jasper with a fierce determination. Handle him. We'll worry about the door later. Jasper had better not look past El Mariachi Muerte. It could cost him in the uprising, Nikki. That's not exactly a bad thing, is it? With a devilish grin, Jasper leaves the room, ready to take on death himself, and Narcissa is left to think to herself, and we cut away. So, the story goes, John the Revelator, JTR, sent El Mariachi Muerte after Jasper Redgrave to knock off the top guy of the Resistance. But now Jasper knows about the door. It didn't work on Jasper. Now he's let Narcy know, so we'll have to see what happens with that. Does that play into those masked men who attacked Grimskull and Druid earlier? We'll have to wait and see. And introducing for Ghosts of the Past, tops of the head, somebody that's a king. Who's it going to be? Ooh, Cale Gable versus King Arthur in a buried alive match. That'll be a fun one. Look at that. Buried alive, Cale, Arthur. That's fun as hell. That's great. Sorry, Gray. Oh, man, that's good. Well, that'll be a fun match. Here we go. A grudge match. Jasper Redgrave, El Mariachi Muerte. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a match here pitting Jasper Redgrave against El Mariachi Muerte. The door remains shut, and Muerte has no time for uninvited guests. Ding ding! The bell rings, and El Mariachi Muerte rushes Redgrave into the corner. Stiff chops from death here. He whips Redgrave into the opposite corner and charges. Redgrave gets his feet up, but Muerte catches them. And he shoves Redgrave head over heels over the top rope. Redgrave crashes on the floor. What a nasty landing. He got tossed out and turned like it's laundry day. Muerte is nowhere close to done. He goes up to the top rope. He leaps off with malice. 48 roses. No! Jasper rolls out of the way to avoid the double foot stomp. Muerte's knee buckles and Redgrave takes the opportunity. He gets a tight headlock. He lifts Muerte to drape him on the barricade. Blood on the floor. He nailed that DDT. Oh, I'd take the canvas any day. Muerte is stunned. Redgrave rolls him back into the ring for a count. 1, 2, no! Muerte with his foot on the ropes. Redgrave notices the easy target. He grabs the leg. He starts wrenching, pulling it against the rope. Muerte is flailing in agony. Desperate eye rake as his hands could get on something. Redgrave is momentarily blinded and Muerte sees an opening. The last Carnival! The springboard lung blower! He got all of it, but it also got all of him too. All of Redgrave's weight went to his legs. Both men are down, trying to pull himself up. Muerte gets up first, but he's got a noticeable hobble in his steps. He pulls Redgrave up, but Redgrave nails a quick drop kick to the hurt leg. Muerte's down to a knee. Art proposal, the bicycle knee by Redgrave. See, Johnny, that's why I'm not married. I was always scared to go to a knee and propose. I don't think that's the reason, Nick. Redgrave covers. 1, 2, no! Muerte with the shoulder up. Redgrave wants to end it as soon as possible. He's calling for the pedigree. He pulls Muerte up. He's got him in position. He jumps. Muerte counters with a backdrop over the ropes. Another crash landing for Redgrave. Remind me not to go on a trip with him, Johnny. Muerte rolls out of the ring. He whips Redgrave into the steel steps. He sprints towards Redgrave, but Redgrave counters with a drop toe hold. Hell yeah. And Muerte falls face first into the steps. Muerte is stunned. Redgrave's got him in a suplex position. Portrait of a killer. He nailed all of that nightmare pendulum. If he did it in the ring, we'd have a winner right now. Redgrave picks Muerte up and tosses him back in the ring. He slides in after him and is shouting at Muerte to get up. And he's slowly getting up. Slowly but surely. Redgrave charges at him, but Muerte wraps his arms around him and won't let go. Whiskey lullaby! He got all of the belly-to-belly toss. He launched Redgrave into the corner. Redgrave definitely looks like that lullaby almost knocked him out rather than sang him to sleep. Jasper's pulling himself up in the corner. Muerte charges in with a jumping clothesline. Redgrave gets the knees up. Muerte is stunned, and Redgrave capitalizes. The symphony of symmetry. He got all of that pedigree. And he covers. This could be it. We got a 1. We got a 2. 3. When one door shuts, another one opens. Jasper Redgrave is your winner. Congratulations. Not a good night for Apocalypsis tonight. Begrudgingly, a good job to Brian. All right. We got a little segment here. Ooh, is that Scott Sterling? Esquire? There we go. Yeah, thanks, Damo. This segment is entitled 3 He Led Away. With the match over, Jasper Redgrave rolls immediately out of the ring and begins backing up the entrance ramp, his arms raised in celebration. This was a mammoth victory. But suddenly, out onto the stage walks Scott Sterling with a microphone. The Authority looks smug as ever. What a tremendous audition that was, Sterling says, accompanied by a slow clap of applause. Unbeknownst to you, Mr. Redgrave. Jasper looks confused. Meanwhile, El Mariachi Muerte looks on from the ring with a scowl, having gotten back to his feet. By order of Zeus, this match has been declared a #1 contendership to the OSW World Heavyweight Championship. He continues, much to the surprise of the artist. Oh, shit! Are you kidding me? This stinks! We need to be careful what we say, but surely Zeus is trying to buy the loyalty of the artist. Ooh, remember his offer. Yes, Zeus made an offer. You think this is part of his master plan? Recruit Jasper Redgrave to turn on the uprising by giving him a world championship match? Could be. Jasper smirks and Sterling continues. At Bad Company, Jasper Redgrave will face the winner of Tombstone and Gemini later tonight for the OSW World Heavyweight Championship. Because I have full authority. Darkness. What on Arcadia is happening now? I can't see a thing, Johnny. When the lights come back on, El Mariachi Muerte is gone. Where the hell is Muerte vanished to? He was just here. I don't like this. First Druid and Grimskull, now Muerte? Well, hot damn. It's even getting worse for Apocalypsis. But that's big news. At Bad Company, Jasper Redgrave will face the winner of Tombstone and Gemini here tonight. I hope we're getting some popping off from Brian over here. All right. What is next? Ooh. Segment with no image. Entitled Terminal 2. We're in the past. On a scratchy image with tracking lines that keep floating up and down, we once again find ourselves with the purple and yellow clad man. The Terminal Man. His face is gaunt, and he looks weathered by his disease. Remember, in the last pay-per-view, we saw this man get, I guess, diagnosed, that's it, with a terminal disease. Standing at the doorway to a tent, a robed figure stands opposite him with a face full of sorrow. I'm sorry, they finally say, their voice a gentle but unwavering decree. I cannot help you. Your path is one I cannot alter. The man's heart visibly sinks. A stone dropped into the abyss of his despair. He stammers even. But I've been to every healer in Arcadia. You were my last hope. His voice cracks, the weight of his journey, of his illness bearing down upon him. The healer listens. Got real confused by that. Is Suburban Beard H a spammer? Okay. Anyway, back where I was. The healer listens. his eyes piercing, yet filled with a sorrowful resignation, but he merely closes the tent flap. Leaving the tent, the man finds himself aimlessly wandering until he collapses onto a bench, the fight seeping out of him like water through clenched fists. The world seems to blur, a tableau of life moving around a still point of pain. Then a kind voice cuts through his fog of despair. "Tough day, huh?" The man looks up to find someone sitting beside him, his face obscured by the shadow of a hat. The stranger hands him a card. An action so casual yet charged with an unspoken promise. "I may know someone who can save you," he says, his voice a balm to the man's battered spirit. The card feels heavy in his hands, a beacon in the gloom. And on the card he finds an address and two simple words: Illumination Antiques. And we cut away. So, big, huge. So whoever this terminal man is, he's been directed to Illumination Antiques. Albert Lamplight. Or Lamplight's father. There you go, Dawson. It is in the past, after all. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Introducing, for Ghosts of the Past. I don't think I can get more than whatever those tops of the heads are. It's just hair. Who's it gonna be? Hey! PJ! Hell yeah, man. Great to see you here. I'm pretty sure it's set to where you can't chat for like 30 minutes, but glad to have you here. Much love. Who's it gonna be? Ooh! Edward Newton versus Simon Black in a submission match. All right. That's a hell of a match. Hell of a match. Hell of a match. It'd be a hell of a feud. Looking forward to it, but aw shit. All right. What's up next? Ooh. All right. Brother versus brother. Jackson Cade versus CJ Thorpe. Let's do this. The brothers Cade collide. Good luck to you, Dawson. But also, please... Thanks. Zach, I'm sure will love it. They say nothing hurts more than bad blood between those you love, and tonight we see that in the ring as two brothers fight off in what should be a brutal match. The bell sounds as Jackson circles the ring, clearly tentative to face off against his brother. Thorpe scoffs before running forward and nearly taking Jackson's head off with a lariat. Jackson stumbles up into another lariat before staggering back into the ropes as he's clotheslined head over heels into the concrete floor. Jackson steadies himself on his feet for a moment as CJ rushes forward. Suicide dive! Thorpe gets all of it. Jackson gets driven into that hard metallic barricade. Thorpe's holding nothing back against his older brother here tonight. Thorpe rolls back to his feet, delivering a few hard kicks to the unprotected sternum of the dazed Jackson before trying to lift him up. Headbutt! Jackson suckered in his brother there with that skull-rattling headbutt. Jackson tees off on CJ with heavy lefts and rights before grabbing him by the back of the head, running forward as he looks to introduce Skull to steel post, but CJ reverses it just in the nick of time, and he throws Cade headfirst into the steel post. Cade may have well as broken his skull from how hard that steel slammed against him. At the very least, he's busted wide open, and this scuffle between brothers may well get deadly. Jackson's heavily bleeding, barely able to sit up, let alone stand, as Thorpe reaches down before roughly throwing him back into the ring. Thorpe slowly follows, setting himself up on the other side of the ring as he waits for his brother to slowly rise to his knees before he sprints forward. Trust! A sickening knee trembler may well have further damaged Jackson's skull, as Thorpe looks almost pleased at the damage he's inflicted here. And he drops down for a casual cover as Demi Sky slides in to count the fall. 1, 2... No! Cade gets the shoulder up. It's going to take more than that. Thorpe just smiles, slapping the head of the dazed Jackson a few times to try and rile his big brother up. Jackson looks pissed, but still dazed as he tries for a wild swing that Thorpe ducks before rocking him with a hard elbow to the side of the head. CJ pulls him in, double underhooking him as he tries for the right thing, but Jackson slips out. Incendiary round, the ripcord elbow out of nowhere rocks Thorpe. CJ staggers back into the ropes, bouncing off as he ducks underneath a lariat before springboarding off the ropes. Pathfinder! A sickening hurricane DDT plants Jackson into the mat, but CJ's not done. He's quickly grabbing the arms. He flips around as he locks in. Police brutality! Jackson screams in pain from the submission, blood pooling into his eyes as he tries to fight his way out of the rings of Saturn. But he's losing strength along with the blood as CJ looks moments away from winning, if the ropes weren't inches away. Cade swings his legs to the left, placing one directly on the ropes to force the break as Sky shouts at CJ to break the hold. Thorpe quickly lets go, backing up as he calls for Jackson to get to his feet. Cade is dazed, bleeding out near helpless as he slowly gets to his feet. CJ just smirks, spinning around. Discus clothesline! Was that? It was! A dirty, underhanded psychological move by the younger Cade there, and it doesn't look as if he's done as he lifts him up high. Oh, you don't know that, Johnny. CJ could just be debuting a new move. Since when has CJ Thorpe used power moves, Nikki? No, this has the artist stink all over it. Thorpe raises Jackson high up in the air in a crucifix, looking for a move that we've seen far too many times against Jackson Cade as Thorpe rushes forward. Jackson slips out. He lands on his feet. Both brothers don't move for a moment. CJ turns, that same cocky grin etched on his face as Jackson turns to face him, absolute fury in his eyes. Thorpe just chuckles before motioning for his brother to come at him. Hostile fucking down, he asked. Jackson delivered there with some venom. CJ staggers up to his feet to a breach and clear the sling blade. Sling blade, sling blade. Jackson goes ham with the sling blades before lifting Thorpe up high, driving him down to the mat with a skull-rattling master key brainbuster. Jackson doesn't waste any time. He's up on the top rope, staring down at his brother. The screaming eagle. The beautiful flying elbow hits perfectly. This could be all she wrote for CJ Thorpe. Jackson backs up into the corner, rhythmically stamping his feet as Thorpe struggles to his feet. Jackson rushes forward, but slows down as CJ drops to his knees, conflict in his eyes. CJ sees the hesitation. He scowls before he flips off his big brother. Hit me, motherfucker. Jackson nods before sprinting forward. Whiskey? Hostile down. That one had some stank on it as Jackson collapses onto his brother. Demi Sky slides in to count the pinfall. 1, 2, that's gotta be it. 3! Jackson Cade wins the brothers. The battle of the brothers here, Johnny. But you have to wonder if anything has really changed. Two sides of the same war, Nick, and unless either one can compromise, their next fight may be even bloodier. Your winner, the bastard Jackson Cade himself. Congratulations, Dawson. Great work on the match. A segment. Thorpe, Cade, Redgrave, and Harold Atano entitled Family Values. The two brothers are both down. What a grueling match. They slowly get back to their knees, facing one another in complete exhaustion. Cade reaches out, placing a hand behind the neck of his brother. They go head to head. Could this be the hatchet buried? Collage of violence. Super kick to the side of Jackson Cade's fucking head. That son of a bitch. Jasper Redgrave nails him. Jasper helps a confused Thorpe to his feet. I don't think CJ appreciated that. They talk amongst themselves briefly as Redgrave explains that Cade needed to be put down. The number one contender pulls Jackson back to his feet, puts him in position for the pedigree. Don't let him do this. Come on, CJ, that's your brother. Symphony of symmetry, the pedigree. Pedigree to Jackson Cade. The crowd boo as Jasper Redgrave hits the canvas with CJ Thorpe. We want nobody. I don't think I really made that a good chant. Clap, clap, clap. Anyway, they chant that I can't make a good chant. The lights drop in Olympus and we hear the rattling of chains. Here comes the song. Here comes Atano. Here he comes. Harold Atano storms down the entrance ramp like a man possessed with a steel chair. He slides into the ring as Redgrave and Thorpe quickly escape to the outside. Harold sits on the middle rope, begs them both back to get in the ring, but they avoid it, leaving. Atano's got a microphone. You need to learn some family values, kid, Atano says with a growl, looking purely at CJ Thorpe. I'll have something for you later, Redgrave, but Thorpe, nobody is coming for you. Jasper looks at CJ, who looks at Harold. The challenge has been set. CJ Thorpe has nobody hot on his tail. Bryna, number 1 contender Redgrave, that tastes like garbage coming out of the mouth. That's great. CJ Thorpe versus Harold Atano. All right. That should be a fun match. That should be a fun match indeed. Introducing next for Ghosts of the Past. I feel like I should be able to recognize the top of the left person's head. I really feel like I should know that hair. Oh, okay. No, I get it. Look at that. It's Jet Set Radio versus those 80s guys. The Generation Kid and Ash Williams. Those 80s guys. Tables, ladders, and chairs match. That's great. Beautiful. That should be a really fun match. Really, really fun. From PJ, fuck you, Zach. We'll pretend he said that. We'll pretend he said that. How's that? Oh, man, that's great. Ash needs his drink. Oh, man. Oh, man. Hell of a show thus far. We're probably a little over halfway through. Killing it. Hope you're ready for that match, Frank. I see you here. Going to get back to it, see what's coming up next. Oh, just 2 matches left. Great. Segment entitled The Exchange with Tombstone and Gemini. That is right. There is just 2 matches left. Up next, we've got the World Championship match, and it is a doozy. Is Gemini going to keep her end of the bargain? As we hear a flutter. We're about to find out. Tombstone's in the middle of the ring. He's got the OSW World Championship. And chittering fills our ears as black insects herald the arrival of Gemini. She has Igor Mortis bound behind her. As promised, she says, her voice filled with triumph. A Mickey D's ad. Here is your treasured Igor Mortis. She turns to Igor. Will you tell him? The question lingers in the air as the bug shackles fall from Igor's body. He regards Pestilence with no expression, but he approaches Tombstone instead. Tell him what? What's Igor supposed to tell him? Reaching the center of the ring, Igor stops before Tombstone, the silence between them a palpable entity. All eyes are on Igor, waiting, wondering what truth he might unveil, but Igor's message is simple. Crush her. Gemini, unflinching, meets Tombstone's gaze. Ask him about the lighter I gave you last week, she challenges, her mind games refusing to yield. What's the deal with this lighter? That is a question for later. Tombstone states his focus is unbreakable, his purpose is clear. Now it is time for me to destroy you. I thought you'd say that. Gemini responds, it changes nothing. We're about to find out if Gemini's mind games actually worked. And Zeus help her if they didn't. The match is here, the OSW World Heavyweight Championship. Tombstone, the champion, defends against Gemini. Good luck, Connor. Let's see if I can advance from 0-3 against you in world title matches to something else. With the kidnapping of Igor Mortis over the last month, Tombstone and Gemini have been at each other's throats. And that's right, Johnny, with the OSW Championship on the line, Igor being released, and no rules to stop either of them from destroying each other until one of them walks away. Strangely enough, Nikki, Gemini looks unsure here tonight. Very out of character for Pestilence. Remember, her 3 fellow horsemen have vanished. Referee Mills Stanton calls for the bell and then gets the fuck out of the way. Gemini hits the ropes. Clothesline by Tombstone is ducked by Pestilence. Crossbody by the Void. But the ferryman catches the Nurgle, throwing her overhead. Over the top rope with a huge fall-away slam. He sends Pestilence careening to the floor with a loud thud. Massive fall-away slam by the ferryman, sending the goddess of the underworld to the concrete below. That's not all, Nick, because Tombstone is not slowing down. Gemini slowly pulls herself to her feet just as a shadow is cast over her. Tombstone is flying over the top rope with a plancha, and Gemini sidesteps it. The ferryman nearly lands on his fucking head on the concrete, and the crowd erupts with holy shit chants. My God, Nick! Tombstone could be dead. He may have broken his fucking neck. Gemini looks around herself, checking for something, someone. She takes a breath, going for a cover, and Mills is Johnny on the spot. One, and it only gets a kick out. Gemini's eyes go wide, and the crowd erupts again. What the fuck? What the fuck? As Tombstone sits up and slowly stares at daggers at Gemini. What the fuck indeed, Johnny? What drives this man? How is he still alive? I don't know, Nick, but I do know one thing. He's pissed. The ferryman lashes out. Grabbing Gemini by the hair and dragging her to her feet before wrapping his arms around her and lifting Pestilence into the air while squeezing the same from her lungs with a bear hug. Tombstone has got a soul to carry as he slowly and deliberately begins to walk to the corner post. Wham! Gemini is slammed back first onto the post, but the ferryman's a soul possessed. He marches to the next post. The crowd counts with him. 1, bang! Into the next corner post. 2! Continuing his parade onto the next one. Bong! Back first into the post again. 3! Now the ferryman gets a head of steam running at the next post. Gong! And the crowd goes wild at 4! Tombstone briefly releases the hold, slumps against him before the ferryman scoops Gemini back up and resuming the bear hug. She goes limp, and once again Stanton is right where he needs to be. He lifts the goddess's arm, and it doesn't fall. No, instead Gemini's eyes roll into the back of her head. She opens her mouth. Insects fly into Tombstone's face. It's the fall of man, and that's just unnerving. As Tombstone's grip loosens, Nurgle locks in the Chimera, but the ferryman is struggling, but not for long. It's Igor! Igor Mortis! He rakes the eyes of Gemini from behind, breaking the hold. Does he have a fucking death wish, Johnny? I don't know, Nick, but she held him trapped for weeks. He's got the right to interfere. Gemini drops to the ground. She shoves Igor into the steel steps. Mortis sprawls over them, and Pestilence turns back to Tombstone with rage in her eyes. She leaps onto the apron before flying off with a Hurricane Rana that flings Tombstone headfirst into the apron. Gemini scurries quickly away, checking around herself again as she gets to the other side of the ring. What in Zeus's name is she looking for? Maybe you can ask her, 'cause she's coming right over here. Pestilence grabs a chair from beside the announce table and waits as Tombstone comes barreling around the corner. Chair shot to the face, but Tombstone is still standing. Another shot. Another. Why the fuck won't he go down? Gemini throws one more shot, but Tombstone catches the weapon. He rips it from Gemini's hand and shoves it right under her throat before slamming her downwards. By God, he could have crushed her windpipe. She's coughing up bugs, Johnny. The ferryman takes Gemini and slams her head first into the announce desk. He follows up by throwing her back first into the apron. Tombstone looks pissed as he begins clearing off the table. Back up! My back is literally against the wall. Tombstone grabs Gemini and hauls her on top of the table. He cracks her with a headbutt across the nose before wrapping a big hand across her throat. For whom the bell tolls. No! Gemini buries her nails in Tombstone's face. Ooh, they break off in his skin and he drops her. Pestilence fires off blow after sickening blow with wild, desperate haymakers. She leaps to the barricade and checks the crowd. She's paranoid. About what? Wait, unleashed! She just leaped from the barricade with a tornado DDT. She just put Tombstone through our announce desk, Johnny. Gemini does everything in her power to roll Tombstone over on his back. She hooks the leg. 1, 2... New World Champ 3? No! Tombstone kicked out. He kicked the fuck out. Gemini is at a loss. What can she do to keep the World Champ down? Tombstone sits up and lumbers to his feet. He looks at Gemini with terrifying intent and wraps a hand around her throat. She tries to claw at him, but he refuses to let go. For whom the bell tolls onto the barricade. And it tolls again. And again. And again. He just chokeslammed her onto the barricade 4 times. He broke the fucking barricade with her. And he makes the cover. 1, 2. Does he retain? 3. Tombstone retains. He put Gemini down. The carnage is over. These two took everything out of one another, but no matter how much she fought, Gemini could not put down Tombstone here tonight. Winner and still OSW World Champion Tombstone. Congratulations, Connor. 0-4. One and 2 for the week. I'll take it. A segment with Gemini's to follow. It says, "Go tell my disciples." What a close-fought match. Gemini also almost took it here tonight, but she now gets back to her feet, watching as Tombstone and Igor Mortis head to the backstage area. And suddenly 4 figures slide into the ring from each and every direction. They're back, converging on her instantly. Before she can even move a muscle, they violently attacked her with steel pipes and weapons, beating her to the floor. Holy Zeus, they're tearing her apart. While I don't condone her methods of earning a title shot, this is uncalled for. They're pummeling the crap out of her, Johnny, and there's no one to save her. This happened to Grimskull, Druid, and El Mariachi Muerte, I'm sure of that. Who's behind this? Is it the Uprising? I have no idea, but that's where I'd put my money, Nikki. With Gemini completely subdued, we turn our attention to Tombstone on the entrance ramp, who's debating coming back to save her. That's not our problem, he angrily and gruffly says, which I assume he is Igor Mortis here. There's innocence in there, Tombstone replies, looking his boss in the eye. But Mortis puts a hand on his shoulder and shakes his head. They exit, leaving Gemini to be dragged away by her attackers. Well, that's 4 for 4 of the damn apocalypsis. They've all been taken by whoever these 4 figures are. Who is fucking with Apocalypsis tonight? I am unsure if we'll even find out tonight who's doing it, but I hope we do. All right. Pretty sure I recognize one of these people. Let's see who the other is. In a perch match, the Impaler versus the Scarecrow. The Scarecrow will be handled by Dean for this event. That should be a special little match. All right, so that just leaves one match left. The Invasion match. The Invasion match. Felix Foley, Doom, Blaze, Harold Atano, Narcissa Balenciaga, and the Yellow Python. I think everyone is here. Maybe. I think so. Son, I just took a drink. I'll have another. All right. Let's do this. Invasion can be the springboard. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, our main event of the evening. For the second time here in Olympus, we see 6 individuals fighting it out for the most valuable briefcase in Arcadia. A shot at the OSW World Championship at any time of their choosing. And if last year's contest was an indication of quality, this contest should be a barn burner. El Mariachi Muerte used that briefcase to end the seemingly unstoppable reign of Doom last year. And with 5 of the 6 not having held that world title before, could we see a future OSW World Champion emerge here tonight? Well, we're going to find out. Who's going to be the first entrant to this match? Or I guess first 2 entrants. Here we go. It's gonna be Doom and Felix Foley as our first 2 entrants. They are also the OSW World Tag Team Champions, as you can see right here. We've got some entrances here that I'm just going to read the commentary for. Speak of the devil, and he emerges. Doom is the very first entrant in Invasion here tonight. Doom is all business. He wants that world title around his waist once more. He's been inches away before, but with that briefcase, it'll only be a matter of time before he gains it again. Doom knows just how valuable that briefcase is again. He's felt it sting in the hands of El Mariachi Muerte, but he's got to go through 5 hungry competitors tonight, including that second entrance. Things may well have gone in the pool boys' favor, Nick. They have half the entrants in this contest, and not everyone has to enter the match for there to be a winner. This may well be the shortest main event OSW has ever had. With them in the ring, Doom stops hovering, and he smiles as Felix rushes over, giving his bestest best buddy a giant bear hug. Doom hugs Felix back for a few seconds before slowly pulling himself away. He pats Felix on the shoulder before pointing upwards at the briefcase. Foley nods his head as he rolls out of the ring, grabbing a ladder and begins to set it up. Foley goes to climb up, but Doom stops him, grabbing him by the shoulder and looking him deep in the eyes. Remember the plan, Felix. Oh, I think you're right, Johnny. Doom's about to steal the victory here before the third entrant can even come out. Felix nods somberly before holding the ladder as Doom slowly climbs up. 1 rung, 2, 3 rungs. The smug, satisfied look on his face as Foley looks torn. Clearly not happy with his best buddy winning this way as the crowd begins to chant. Don't do it, Foley. I think I got a chant out of that one. Felix tries to ignore the crowd, but from the pain in his face, it's clearly getting to him. He watches up high as Doom's fingertips just touch the briefcase, mere moments away from pulling it down. As Felix closes his eyes and he pushes the damn ladder over. Yes, Felix did the right thing here. The invasion match continues to be a legitimate contest. Someone was real pissed about that, Dean. Someone was real... I don't remember... Was it Tommy? I don't remember who it was, but they were really pissed. It was Tommy. Oh, man. Anyway, Doom doesn't crash the mat. Instead, he hovers slowly to the mat as he shakes his head. Foley looks ashamed as he tries to apologize to Doom, but Doom just waves his hand, nodding his head with a slight smile on his face. Watch my right hand! Before sending his hand flying at Felix's face. Now we've got ourselves a fight, Johnny. Doom flying at Felix with lefts and rights as Foley does his best to stop the onslaught from his best buddy. Doom backs Foley into the corner, nailing him with a stiff headbutt before backing up as he rushes forward, but Foley grabs him in midair, throwing him through the air with a sudden belly-to-belly suplex. Doom lands upside down in the corner. Foley backs up before running forward. Foley's funhouse! He lands all of it! All of the running basement dropkick. Conflict is still on his face as he pulls Doom up to his feet. He's trying to grip him in a hug once more, but Doom just pushes him away before delivering an almighty slap that echoes throughout the arena. Come on, Felix, fight me! Foley turns around, a big smile on his face, as he nods before pulling Doom in and nearly lariating him out of his honor. Doom asks, Doom receives, and this fight may well be turned up to 11 judging by that thunderous lariat. Don't forget that these are only the first 2 entrants in Invasion, Nick. We've still got 4 other entrants to come. Every 2 minutes, someone else will come out until all 6 have entered. Not everyone has got to be in the match for the match to be over. It's absolutely luck of the draw. And with 30 seconds away till our 3rd entrance, this match is only getting started. Doom staggers up into a flurry of lefts and rights by Felix, who tries to throw Doom into the ropes, but the scientist activates his boots, flying onto the ropes to use as a springboard. He rockets forward. Punch of Doom! A mammoth Superman punch may well have knocked Felix out cold. Doom stops himself from flying through the ropes to the outside as he looks up at the briefcase high above. He looks over and briefly considers grabbing the ladder, but seeing as his boots are already activated, he's just going to use them to rise into the air. But just then, a 10 flashes on the Tron. The countdown to our next competitor's entrance has begun. 9, 8, 7, 6. Doom is slowly rising up. He's halfway to the briefcase. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The buzzer goes off. Who is number 3? It's the Yellow Python. Will they be able to stop Doom? His music hits, and the spotlight shines down onto nothing. The Yellow Python isn't doing his pose. Instead, he's on the turnbuckle posts. He's perched behind Doom. He dives off, crushing coils. Python drives a hovering Doom back down to the mat. Skull first. The brutal Poison Rana drives him back down to the mat. The Yellow Python is here with an emphatic statement. TYP rolls to his feet into a flurry of lefts and rights from Foley, who pounds down on the hero that hurt his best buddy. Foley throws Python into the corner, trying to rush forward with an avalanche splash, but the Python ducks at the last second as Foley's skull slams into the steel, knocking him for a loop. The Serpent rushes to the ropes, bouncing off as he nails Foley with crushing coils of his own before leaping up to the second rope. Hollow Fangs! A brutal double elbow drop right to the heart of Foley as the Serpent is all over the pool boys so far. TYP walks over to the ladder. He sets it up, but before he can climb, Foley staggers up, delivering a clubbing blow to the back of the head as he grabs him in a full Nelson. Doom staggers up to his feet, seeing Foley clutching the Python as he rushes forward. The Splitter to Felix Foley! The Serpent slithered his way out of Foley's grasp at the last second, causing Doom to gore his best buddy. Doom looks shocked as TYP takes advantage, grabbing him by the back of the head and spiking him down onto the mat with a reverse DDT. The field is clear. The ladder's set up. All the Serpent's got to do is climb that ladder and he can win that briefcase. The Python slowly climbs up, slowly ascending, one rung by another. He's getting closer. He may win this before the other three competitors even get into the match. The Python's so focused on the briefcase, he doesn't notice Doom, slowly rising off the mat as the scientist hovers in the air, till he lands opposite the Python. The Serpent stares at Doom for a moment, who simply smiles smugly, and nails the Python with a hard right hand. Both men are exchanging hard lefts and rights. They're going at it with blows as Python looks to be teetering from the sheer strength of Doom. But Felix is up underneath. He has the ladder in his hands. Felix Foley pushes the ladder over. Both men go flying over the ropes, over the barricades, and down into the crowd onto the hard concrete fucking floor. Foley looks clearly beside himself, thinking Doom was going to save himself as he rolls out of the ring. He's trying to rouse Doom back into consciousness as the countdown begins. Foley, you should go win. Slowly counting down until it flashes 0. And we have our fourth entrant, who is Harold Atano. He is coming out. He makes his regular entrance. He's the fourth entrant. He's got a clear path to the briefcase. He is ready, is the only man in the spotlight. He goes to walk up the ring steps, but he suddenly finds himself speared out of his boots by an unrushing Felix Foley, who pounds down on him with heavy lefts and rights. Foley's eyes are wide and furious as he tries to severely hurt Atano, who ducks and weaves out of strikes before a slick thumb to the eye wounds Foley enough for Atano to slip out from under him. Foley is clearly still furious at the betrayal over the last few weeks from Mr. Nobody. Anybody who messes with his best buddy is very much an enemy of the usual fun-loving Foley. Foley staggers up, blood slightly oozing from his eye as he rushes forward, trying to take Atano's head off with a mammoth boot. But Atano ducks under, peppering Foley with click shots to the lower back and kidneys, weaving in and out as Foley tries, but constantly fails to hit Atano. Foley finally manages to grab him, pushing him back with an almighty shove before rushing forward as Atano ducks underneath. Venom Shot! A brutal scorpion kick into that deadly super kick as Foley flies forward, his skull implanting onto the steel steps. Oh no! Don't do it! Oh my god! Harold Atano barely lets Foley fall onto the steel steps before he leaps out of the apron, dives forward, curb-stomping Felix Foley into the steel steps. Foley falls sideways into the concrete, busted wide open as there's blood impact on the steel. Atano chuckles to himself as the audience begins to boo him, chanting, "You sick fuck! You sick fuck!" Atano nods to their claims. He agrees, but he doesn't roll into the ring. Instead, he looks under the apron. He's got a table, and he slides that into the ring. Atano sets it up, looking for his next victim as the yellow python slowly staggers back into the ring. He shakes the cobwebs off as the countdown begins again, rushing at Atano, who ducks underneath a lariat, but the python is able to dodge Venom. He clocks Atano with an enziguri to the back of the head. Atano staggers back as Python springboards off the ropes. The crowd's countdown is to 3 as the Serpent leaps at Atano. 1 hit, 1 kill. Atano just murdered the Python with that lethal cutter. The buzzer sounds once more as Mr. Nobody focuses in on the stage, casually calling down who his next victim will be. PJ, you can chat now. Good to have you. Who's number 5? This is 5, right? Yeah. Number 5 is Blaze. Here comes Blaze to save his boys. He's got a canister of gasoline in his hands. He's bringing the fire. He looks out to the crowd. He pours the contents. He's lit his flame retardant clothes on fire. Justice is here for Harold Atano. Johnny, as the third member of the Pool Boys, is about to enter Invasion, and he is fired the fuck up. Terrible. Puns aside, this may well be a challenge Mr. Nobody can't fight. Skilled or not, fire usually wins against flesh. Engulfed in flames, Blaze rushes down the ramp as Atano waits for him inside the ring. Blaze slides in, most of the fire having faded away as Atano tries to stomp him out on the mat. Blaze manages to push his way to a vertical base as Atano tries to nail Blaze with a shot to the kidneys. The supernaturally powered Blaze merely catches the shot. He pulls Atano in close as the fire pulsates over him, scorching Mr. Nobody, before a fiery headbutt staggers him. Tip the scales! Blaze nearly sends Atano through the mat with a brutal uranagi. Blaze doesn't follow up as he looks over at his pool buddies slowly getting to their feet on the outside. He rolls outside of the ring to help Doom back to his feet. They walk over to the ring as the scientist sees a still woozy Felix on the steps, blood oozing down him, and absolute fury flows over him. Now here comes the payback. You don't mess with Doom's best buddy and get away with it. Harold Atano may wish he hadn't given in to his brutal nature very soon, Nick. Doom and Blaze roll back into the ring as they stare at a slowly rising Harold Atano. Doom slices his finger across his throat before the pair rush forward. Flame Tongue! Into the splitter! Blaze kicks Harold Atano right into a brutal gore, then nearly cuts his ass in half. Both Blaze and Doom begin to kick the hell out of Atano, pounding down on him in an assault that only stops as Foley stumbles into the ring. Doom quickly checks on his best buddy, who seems to slowly be recovering before motioning for Blaze to pick Atano's ass up as electricity begins sparking through the air from Doom's gauntlet. But Foley stops him, only to point at the timer on the Titantron. 5 seconds left to the last entrance. Nick and Foley just reminded Doom who the real enemy is here, the leader of the uprising herself. Every other competitor's got a bone to pick with Narcy, Johnny, and unless she's got some tricks up her sleeve, she's in for a rough time in a few moments. Doom nods, signaling for Blaze to let Atano go as the Pool Boys focus on the stage, waiting for Narcissa Balenciaga, waiting for Hera to make her entrance. And here she comes, entrance number 6. She stares them down. She's got a microphone in her hands, and she's flanked by Lucky Landucci. She doesn't even make a move to walk down. Do you really think I'm a lamb walking into the slaughter, boys? I'm the queen. This is my kingdom, and I always have a plan. The lights go out for a moment. When they come back on, the ring is surrounded by uprising members, some faceless, some like Haywire and Harvey Escher that we recognize as her elite guard. But either way, the 5 men in the ring are heavily outnumbered. Blaze pulls the Python to his feet, needing another pair of hands as all 5 men go back to back, waiting for the first of the uprising to strike. When thick, green gas begins to flood the ring, the chief of chemicals must be here. All 5 men begin to cough hard, separating as Doom activates something on his wrist. The gas quickly dissipates, only to reveal Nox right behind Doom, badass. He nearly breaks the next level title over his skull. Narcissa clicks her fingers. The moment Doom falls, the uprising swarm. A devious move by Narcissa here. The numbers game is far too much for her opponents. She may well have this all but won before she even gets inside the ring. Devious. Yes. Ingenious. Absolutely. If you got the power, you gotta flaunt it. And that world title is the prize you should be willing to do anything to get your hands on. The 4 remaining wrestlers fight off the nameless goons, but soon get overwhelmed by the sheer numbers. Haywire grabs the yellow python, nailing him with stiff strikes with his crowbar before placing it in his mouth. Twisted Madness! Crowbar-enhanced backstabber! Aster Gray grabs hold of Blaze, rocking him with an almighty headbutt before lifting him up high, walking slowly to the ropes. All Gray a chokeslam to the outside. Roderick Pym nails Foley with the periwink, giving him a double-arm DDT of his own. Before Harvey Escher nearly decapitates Atano with a brutal blood-red lariat. Everyone is down as Narcissa smiles and begins to walk down the ramp. Lucky follows, hyping up Narcissa as the crowd begins to heavily boo the uprising leader. Escher sets up the ladder in the middle of the ring as the uprising continues to beat down on the helpless men. And this is how our invasion ends, with not a bang but a whimper, as a god takes the briefcase without any effort. This disgusts me, Nick. Me too, Johnny, but you want to go out there and stop her? The numbers don't lie, and they're on Narcissa's side here. Narcissa slides into the ring as she slowly makes her way to the ladder and she begins to climb. Oh, 1 rung. 2 rungs. 4 rungs. Narcissa is nearly at the top. The numbers do not lie. Atano stirs on the mat, trying to get to his feet. Lucky rushes over, trying to deliver one of his deadly right hands, but Atano catches it. He pushes Lucky backwards. No, into the ladder as Narcissa crashes to the mat. Lucky looks shocked. He quickly picks Narcy up. He's trying to brush her off. She pushes him away. She's pissed. She's hurting. She orders him to leave before trying to pick up the ladder. She lifts it up before dropping it in pain as she gets a static shock from it before seeing all the hairs on her arm raise up. Doom is on his feet. Electricity sparks all around him. Fury's in his eyes. Narcissa gulps before looking around at her loyal uprising followers. She orders them to attack. Doom is clearly nettled here, Nick, but can he truly fight off a 6-on-1 advantage? Even Doom isn't that powerful. I don't know about that, Johnny, but Doom is certainly a man who will try to his last breath. Haywire rushes in, trying to leap at Doom, who simply punches the madness out of the air with a brutal right hand that takes all the wind out of him, before he grips him around the temples and begins to send a few thousand volts through the psychotic madcap. Doom drops the near crispy Haywire to the mat, dodging a clothesline from Pym, before gripping him around the neck with one hand, slamming a hard fist into his sternum before lifting him up onto his shoulders. Impending motherfucking Doom! Doom gets to his feet, sparking from both hands as he calls for Escher and Grey to come get him, but he's jumped from behind. Nox begins to make him breathe that noxious gas. The electricity begins to fade from Doom as a 3-on-1 beatdown begins. But before it can truly begin, Harvey Escher goes flying through the air. Blaze with the flame tongue out of nowhere. Aster gets pulled off Doom. Foley lifts him up high in the air with a goozle. Master of puppets to the outside. Nox tries to keep the assault, but the yellow python leaps in from out of nowhere, dropping him on the back of his skull, crushing coils. Nox staggers back to his feet, right into a headshot by Atano before he's sent flying over the top rope to the outside by a double clothesline from the standing pull boys. Foley and Blaze pull Doom to his feet, checking he's okay before all 5 competitors turn to Narcissa. Payback is a bitch, Nick, and Hera's about to get some heavy payback here. She tries to run through the ropes, but a flying right from Doom knocks her back into the corner. Dazed and confused, Foley slowly walks forward as he begins to stomp a mud hole dry. In Felix Foley's corner, Narcissa's ribs are feeling every blow as she's pulled up to her feet before being thrown onto her knees as both Blaze and Room rush forward. Kingdom fall before Doom. Spinning elbow, running knee sandwich. Narcissa crushes to the mat as the python leaps up to the top rope, quickly diving off with a serpent strike. Shooting star press. Balenciaga looks done on the mat. But the boys aren't, as they slowly pull her up to her feet to the waiting arms of Harold Atano, who simply smiles. 1 shot, 1 kill. That has to be all she wrote for Balenciaga, as she is done inside this match. She crashes to the mat, rolling to the outside, looking all unconscious, as all 5 men look proud at their revenge before looking upward at the briefcase, and they all begin trying for the ladder. Doom headbutts the python back. The serpent manages to worm his way out of Doom's grasp, and he runs right into a brutal big boot by Foley that turns him inside out. Atano nearly grabs it, but drops in pain as Blaze also grabs the steel, setting it ablaze for a moment before delivering a scorching headbutt that staggers Atano back into the waiting arms of Foley. Cut the strings! Foley nails Atano with that stiff double-arm DDT as Blaze grabs the ladder, setting it up before he begins to climb. But he's quickly pulled down by Doom, who tries to climb. Doom only gets a full rungs before Foley pulls him down. And there it is. They might be united by that pool, but all 3 men want the briefcase tonight. The pool boys stare at one another for a moment, before shrugging, and they begin to go at one another. Blaze nails Doom with a right hand, before Foley retaliates with a big headbutt. Blaze staggers as Foley picks him up, trying for that fall-away slam. But Blaze manages to land on his feet, drilling Foley with a hard elbow to the back of the head before dropping him to the mat with a reverse DDT. Blaze turns into a brutal right hand by Doom, who lifts him up into the Omega Driver. Doom is eternal, and Blaze is unconscious. Blaze rolls to the outside. Doom's all alone in the middle of the ring. Too spent to truly hover high, he slowly grabs the ladder and begins to climb. He's got 1 rung, 2, 3, 4 rungs. Doom's nearly at the top, but Atano is rising. He's scowling. Doom summons one of his drones and clicks something on it as it begins to blow, Glow burning bright. Doom's looking for blood. He sends a kamikaze drone right at Atano. The drone flies forward, right as Foley staggers to his feet into the path of the drone. Doom's eyes go wide as he dives off the ladder at Foley, right as the drone explodes. Doom just possibly sacrificed his chance at the briefcase to save his best buddy there. That's true friendship. The smoke fades as Foley and Doom look a little scorched and hurt, but still breathing, as Atano staggers back, looking at the ladder. But before he can climb it, the yellow python rushes forward, delivering a brutal super kick that sends Atano flying through the middle rope to the outside, leaving the yellow python all alone with a clear shot at the briefcase. The serpent quickly begins climbing, going up 1, then 2 rungs, but as he makes it to the 3rd, the lights go out! And when they come back on, the yellow python is staring down at the Black Panther, one of his fellow kingdom members. But is the Panther here to cheer on his friend, or for something more? The Python looks hesitant for a moment before the Panther smiles, holding the ladder and urging the Python to climb. Which he does. He's climbing the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, until he's at the top. His fingertips, they're scraping the briefcase as the Black Panther's head turns to a hilt. Don't do it! Don't do it! And he pulls the ladder out from underneath the Python. The yellow Python is gripping the briefcase, dangling from high above as he desperately tries to pull it down. The Black Panther climbs the ropes, scowling as he stares deep at the Python. Stay down! He spears him right down to the fucking mat. What the hell? Why did the Black Panther just turn on his friend like this? The yellow python crashes to the mat, screaming out in agony from his possibly busted ribs. The Panther just continues to growl, pounding down upon his injured form before he lifts him up high into the air. Powerbomb to the outside. Everybody is down in the ring. Nobody is stirring but a single figure on the mat, and it's Mr. Nobody himself. Harold Atano slowly gets to his feet. He sets the ladder up once more, and he begins to climb. 1 rung. 2. 3 of them. 4 rungs. Atano is fingertips away when someone flies in from out of nowhere. Who is it? The latest 1 shot, 1 kill. Narcissa nails Atano with that cutter right to the mat. Out of nowhere, they both crash to the mat. Narcissa slowly rises, the crowd's booing as she slowly pulls herself up the ladder, climbing slowly with everyone else out as she reaches up high. But Atano's not out of the fight. He stumbles back to his feet with a burst of energy, flies up the ladder. They trade off, rights, lefts. They both have one hand on the briefcase. Who's gonna take it down? Who's it gonna be? Down goes Atano! Down goes Narcissa! Down goes the briefcase! What in all Zeus is this? Atano and Narcissa! Narcissa Balenciaga has done it! Hasn't she? She survived a beatdown, nearly stealing it early on before taking out of the grasp of Harold Atano out of nowhere. I don't think so, Johnny. They both have their hands on it. I think we've seen the unthinkable. Harold and Narcissa have co-won this thing? The referee raises both of their arms as they crawl to their knees on the canvas. Atano looks at Narcissa. Narcissa looks at Atano. What on Arcadia is next? This is unbelievable, folks. Harold Atano and Narcissa Balenciaga have won Invasion. There's 1 briefcase and 2 holders? I never in a million years thought we'd see this. Holy shit! Narcissa and Harold Atano, you're co-winners of Invasion. Congratulations to the both of you. Hot damn. What a fucking match, man. What a fucking match. Oh, what a finish. Oh, man. Congratulations, Robbie and Brino. All right. Well, I was looking for some more popping off, but Guess we'll have to see what happens with you guys shedding tears of joy. Awesome, Brino. Well deserved, my friend. Congratulations. And I don't know if it'll be right now, but maybe we'll find out. Oh, we'll see what happens next week. All right. Well, I guess only thing left to do is go on. What is next? A segment with Zeus. The Elders. Thank you. The Elders. We've got an Elders segment coming up. Whew. Many years ago. Years have passed since the Elders sat in this room and debated the potential enactment of Project OSW. It didn't happen. They decided against it. They thought it might panic Arcadia. Zeus, now privy to the meeting, sits in the corner as the Elders gather around a large table taking their seats. Worry and fear are etched on their faces. Father Time having been less than favorable. We stayed the course, Cronus says with a deep sadness. There's an air of impending doom. And things remain dark. How long has it been? Cryas flicks through some documentation, shuffling the pages. 2 years, 2 months, and 24 days, he grumbles. There's a gasp from Calypso and a grunt from Atlas. Are you afraid yet? She asks Cronus. The normally fearless leader glances at his son, then back at the ground. He nods one singular nod, which is enough to bring complete silence. You could hear a pin drop. Hyperion stands up and places a hand on his best friend's shoulder. Cronus places his atop. Good friend, Hyperion calmly and earnestly says. We always said that in dire circumstances we would do what is right. I think now is the time, don't you? Cronus takes a deep breath. You're right, he admits. Creus angrily stands up, pushing his chair away and pacing. Calypso puts her head in her hands. The decision is made. Calypso, put together an event for the people. Let's call it the Classic. All right. We'll give our people the best food and drink. We'll make it a celebration of Arcadia with the best wrestling and bouts of fighting ever seen. When it's over, we'll announce it to the whole of Arcadia. Announce what? Zeus asked from the corner of the room. That Arcadia is... He pauses. Over. Zeus's eyes open wide with terror. Gulp. And we cut away. Okay. Very, very interesting segment here. I am extremely intrigued by what it is that's happening that's getting to them. But I suppose we'll have to wait for that. All right. We've got our... I guess last Ghost of the Past match. Triple cage, 2 out of 3 falls match. First blood, Hollywood rules, Butcher's Blade. Tommy Hawk versus Luke fucking Storm. There we go. I guess that is our main event. In my heart, at least. That is our main event. That is a hell of a set of rules right there. Triple cage, 2 out of 3 falls. Okay. Yeah, Zach, I need you to write this and explain this. You need a law book for the rules. Every fall on a different cage. Okay. I think people were more concerned or confused about what Hollywood rules and Butcher's Blade rules are. A wild slapnuts appears. The second layer of the cage needs to have that painting from Red Snow in Luke Storm's bedroom in it. Weapons, okay. Third cage is the old butcher. Okay. Hang your opponent on the hook. Alright, there it is. Alright, I understand now. Alright. Alright, so let's see what we've got here. We've got some of our fine uprising folks. We've got Narcissa. I believe that's Dahlia Black, isn't it? And Nox. His Rocket League ping got to him. Oh, man. Segment entitled, He Refused to Answer. Trudging footsteps and groaning. Ooh. John the Revelator finds himself badly beaten, his eye swollen almost out of its socket, blood dripping from his nose and mouth. He's gasping and groaning as he's dragged along the rubble of what used to be the red light district. His attackers aren't masked. They aren't trying to hide their identity. Not this time. They drag him towards the door that Jasper Redgrave followed El Mariachi Muerte to, only to find Grimskull, Druid, El Mariachi Muerte, and Gemini all kneeling. Likewise beaten, and in the case of Druid, resurrected. They're surrounded by the uprising. It was them. As we suspected, but this can't be good. Poor JTR has been nearly beaten to death. Narcissa stands before them all, a baseball bat that belongs to Lucky Landucci in her head. Is she going to Negan this? They drop John on his knees with the rest of Apocalypsis and turn their attention to that door. Narcissa puts her hand on it only for it to beep red and reject access. She walks back to Jasper Redgrave, who stands guard of the prisoners. The rest of the uprising surround them, outnumbering them 10-4. Even if they could fight back, they've all been so badly beaten that they're unable to move. Who wants to be the first to explain this, she asks, slapping the bat in her hand. She walks over to Grimskull and puts the bat under his chin. Is this why you blew up the red light district? Is this why I was accused of it? She demands to know. Grimskull says nothing, so she demands that Harvey Escher grab his arm and outstretch it. He does as he's told, pulling Grimskull's arm out vertically. Narcissa smashes him down across the arm with the bat, breaking the arm in the process. He doesn't moan. He doesn't roar or yell. He soaks in the pain. Those vile sons of... This isn't going to get any better, Johnny. You weren't kidding about enduring the pain, were you, preacher? Someone here is going to tell me what's going on. They say nothing. Narcissa walks over to Gemini next, putting the bat on her head. She releases her black tongue, spewing bile out in a sinister smile. How about you, sister? The double feature champion asks. Do you have anything to say? Us girls ought to stick together, hadn't we? Gemini spits black at her, barely missing. Narcissa nods to Victor Doom, who stood behind her. He grabs her by the throat, squeezing violently in a headlock from behind. She coughs black, acidic bile at him across his arm, but it has no effect. He chokes her nearly unconscious before letting go. Someone needs to tell her what she wants to know. That just pisses the uprising leader off. She trundles over to Muerte, kneeling before him. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to lose something you love. I know what loss tastes like, Muerte. That sickly taste of iron never goes away. Tell me what's going on and I'll find a way to help you. Muerte shakes his head. With her frustration growing, she gets back to her feet and stands beside Druid, who's being watched over by Lucky Landucci and Roderick Pym. You're the lucky one, Druid, Narcissa says with a shrug of her shoulders. You can't die. Your friends... They're not so lucky, are they? Oh, Zeus. Don't, War utterly, angrily mutters. Narcissa steps back slightly. Open your eyes, close your eyes, bow your head and cry. It doesn't matter. Someone dies tonight. Crack! Oh, my Zeus! Oh, my Zeus! She just killed!